Hey everybody, please welcome to the stage me, Eddy Hare! Hey, how you doing? Good. You sound good. You sound really good. How you had a nice day? Yeah. Good. Nice. Thanks for coming. How are you finding this room, by the way? What do you think about it? Hot. Yeah. Yeah, it is hot. It's going to get hotter. It will get hotter. That is my fault. Before I started the run, they sent me an email. They said, Eddie, how hot you want this room? And I was feeling cocky. I said, you know what? Let's make it piping hot. Give me a challenge, something to come back from. I want to feel like I'm inside a shepherd's pie. My name is Eddie. I'm 31 years old, and I'm an early bloomer. I've had armpit hair since I was 8. I've had this voice since I was 9. And I've had a bald patch since I was 20. You can always tell when you meet one of my boys with male pattern baldness, because we will always let you go down the stairs before us. No. We insist. We insist. We are gentlemen like that, okay? Also, we got a bit less hair. That is a dead giveaway. I first noticed that I had this bald patch when I was at the barber, okay? The barber did that thing that they do at the end of a haircut where what they do is they hold the mirror up to show you the back. And normally what they say is, do you like it? But on this occasion, he just said, don't worry about that. Now I'm worried about that. I looked in the mirror, I saw the bald patch, okay? And I could tell it was bad because when I tried to ask him, I said, is that a bald patch? He said, no, don't say that. What that bit is, don't. What that bit is, that's where your hair comes from. We made eye contact in the mirror. We both knew he was lying. Okay, I could tell he just panicked because he didn't have the emotional tools to break it to a 20-year-old that he's prematurely balding. And that's fair enough. You know, he's there to cut hair. He's not trained in how to break my heart. I didn't want to make him feel worse. You know, I didn't want to make him feel bad about himself. So I just said, okay, thanks for explaining how hair definitely works. 11 years on, this bald patch has expanded a fair bit. You know, it used to be about the size of a £1 coin when I first saw it. Now it's the size of a, I don't know, do they do £8 coins? It's about the size of an £8 coin. I look like a monk from the back. I do, and I got nothing against monks. I didn't come here to rag on monks. That's not my style, okay? It's not. I'm not an insult comic. I'm very gentle. And I got a monk in the family. Okay, I do. Anyone else got a monk in the family? Yeah, I thought so. I do got a monk in the family. No time in the intro to get into that, but I will talk about it later. I just don't want to look like a monk, yet. Male pattern baldness is actually a lot like coastal erosion, okay? Stay with me. Because you remember in geography class, right, you'd get a textbook, and there'd be a section on coastal erosion, right? And there'd be a sequence of images of some man's house on the edge of a cliff. And in each consecutive image, this house is getting closer and closer to the edge of the cliff, right? And look, first of all, terrible news getting photographed for educational purposes. No one's ever like, hey man, your setup looks great. Let's get a photo for the textbook. Kids have got to see this. But there must have been a period of like 5 years where that man, he's looking out of his window every 6 months, right? And he sees the photographer coming back for an update pic. Now what's he thinking? This man must really like my house. You got me in this one? Just the house again? Yeah, no worries, yeah. No, I don't want to see a side-by-side comparison. I choose to believe nothing changes. That's how it feels to be losing your hair, okay? I just don't want to wake up one day and find I've suddenly got £25 worth of bald patch back there. So I've started taking these anti-hair loss pills called finasteride. Now, it is embarrassing to admit to you that I take finasteride, okay? Because I've got pretty good medical reasons for every other pill that I take. Vitamin D supplement, that's good for my immune system. Antidepressants, don't worry about them. Finasteride, I'm just afraid of my own scalp. That's all it is. You know, that's all it is. Has anyone else here heard of finasteride? Yeah? Okay. Full disclosure, I can't see anyone's face from the stage, so every now and then I'm going to lean in like this. And I know to you this is just a silhouette, so I'm going to try and minimize the amount of times I do it, but I do have to do it every now and then. Who said yeah? Yeah. Oh, and you as well? Oh, not you. So I was looking in the wrong place. Right. Oh, hey Don. What's up? Yeah, not bad. I'll probably talk to this guy because I don't know him. Thanks for coming, man. How did you hear about it?
It's the two guys in the hats.
Yes. It's a giveaway, isn't it? Wait, is there another guy in a... Oh, Dom's wearing a hat. Sorry, Dom. I couldn't see your hat. What's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Nice to meet you, Paul. How did you hear about it then?
Started losing my hair. Looked it up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Same for me. Did you try... what are the chances? Did you try taking it?
Tried like minoxidil.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's another one.
A lot of like
It's
coffee-based shampoos. Like
Coffee-
caffeine ones.
Did anything work?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. But you didn't try the pill?
No.
All right, yeah.
Seems quite extreme.
All right, man. I'm trying to open up to you guys. And just ripping into me. Well, look, I think you did well to not bother, to be honest. Dom, have you tried it? All right. Because you can't see, but I know Dom. His hair is great. So I'll be honest. He's got no business taking finasteride. You're gonna be all right. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, you did well to not take it, I think. Sorry, what was your name again?
Paul.
Paul. Sorry, Paul. I forgot immediately. Nah, it's rude, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. But yeah, I don't think it works. Basically, I don't think finasteride works. I've been taking it for a year now, and my bald patch is still getting bigger. But I don't know if it'll be getting more big if I wasn't taking it. So I'm stuck. They've got me. They got me over a barrel because the company that makes it, right? All they say is, this could reverse all your hair loss, or it might just slow it down a bit. But how do you disprove that? You can't. If I went to the company and said, I don't think your pill works, then they could just say, well, it's a good job you're taking it, buddy, because otherwise you would be fully bald by now. And not many people can get away with a con like that, If you didn't laugh for this whole hour, I couldn't just say, well, it's a good job I said all that. Because otherwise, you would be crying. It's not right. I'm recording this on my phone, by the way. That's why I brought that up. Don't worry about that. No pressure on you guys. I've just got a lot to prove up here this evening. That's all that is. The show's not about my hair. The show is not about my hair. You'd be forgiven for thinking it is, based on everything I've said so far. But it's not, okay? I just mentioned the hair thing to give you a sense of where my brain is at the moment. And also, I do not want you sat there getting distracted thinking, well, does this comedian have a bald patch or not? Yeah, he does. I know you can't see it. He's got a bald patch, but let's move on. There's more to him than that. I'm not just a bald patch comedian. I got a lot of stuff going on. I got... what else have I got? I got 2 nieces. That's not bad. Not bad for one man. I think becoming an uncle was the best decision I ever made. I got my first niece at 27, hit the double at 28. That made me the youngest double uncle in history. Okay, I have not checked that. Please don't check that. I need this win. But you can read every book about becoming an uncle. You'll never be ready. You will never be ready for this. Believe me, I didn't feel ready when I found out. I remember I said, I'm 27. I can't support a niece. But you get used to it. Look at me now. I'm in my element. That's me with my nieces. They didn't give me permission to use their faces. So I swapped my face in for theirs, but they are the spitting image of their uncle, so it's pretty much the same. You actually can read every book about becoming an uncle. There's just 3. They are self-published. The industry's not interested. All right, yeah, they're PDFs. They're PDFs, but they're still worth reading, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote them. I thought I'd be a dad before I became an uncle, but life doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to. Just changes everything when these little guys come along. Suddenly it's like, what, you like sleeping? Not anymore. Now you're up all hours, yeah? 3 a.m, you got to call your sister, find out how this niece is doing. She's asleep, is she? Bless her, she's an angel. You're asleep too? Okay, no worries, sis. Let's circle back tomorrow. Sorry, I do need to explain. There's something they don't tell you, right? When you're thinking about becoming an uncle, it turns out your niece's mum is also your sister. Okay, so you just got to get used to that day one. First time I went to hang out with my niece, my sister's there as well, and I'm like, that That's random. I did not know you guys knew each other. But you get used to it, you know, you do. Because I like hanging out with my sister too, you know, I love her as well. I guess I'm just one of those guys who loves his immediate family. Sue me. Don't sue me, I need that money for finasteride. Grass doesn't grow on a busy road. That's what my Uncle Ron used to say to me to make me feel better about losing my hair. Took me a long time to work out what that means. I think what it means is your brain is so active, okay, you're having so many thoughts that your hair's just falling out. And I wish it was true, okay, but I don't think it is true because I am certain that I have fewer thoughts than the average person. And look, I don't know how you'd prove that, but I'm sure of it because I will often catch myself in conversation with people and there will be a voice in my head doing a running commentary of how the conversation's going, and the voice is saying, Eddie, we need more stuff. Just something, anything. Just come up with something, boy. Just say something, please. And I will panic, and I'll hear myself say something like, stamps have never been in less demand, and yet they keep going up in price. It makes you worry. It does. I worry that my nieces are going to lose interest in me one day, because the novelty's going to wear off at some point. So I'm kind of holding back all my best stories for then, you know, for when they're older. I got this frankly unbelievable story about the first time I got an email address. I think they're going to like that. I think they are. I think most people are quite embarrassed by their first email address. What do you think of that? Yeah, thank you. Nice. Anyone got one they want to share? All right, coming back in. Sorry, I should explain as well. Last year at the Fringe, the best thing I saw was the Meg 2 in 4DX. And there's quite a few bits where our boy Jason Statham, he steps out of the screen a bit into the audience, and you know when inspiration just hits you? And I thought, I got to use that next year. So this is me doing that. So, right, so nobody's embarrassed by their first email address then?
My email's pretty shit.
What was it? Hollywood. What? Don't we all? Why do you think I'm here? Have you been to Hollywood yet? No. That's a real shame. What's your name?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Very cryptic. Well, Hollywood, I don't think you should be embarrassed by that email address. I think it's a shame. I don't think any of us should be ashamed of the people we used to be. Because most people know me as, you know, plain old Eddy Hare. But in here, I'll always be epicdude69@hotmail.com. You can't take that away from me. I come from a long line of uncles. Okay, I do. My uncles were all uncles. Their uncles before them. Okay, and I've had 3 uncles in total. I had Uncle Ron, Uncle Portuguese, and Uncle Monk. And none of them, Munkle. None of them were particularly fun uncles, okay? I know they tried their best, but they weren't fun. And I want to be the first one in my family. I want to be the first funkle. Be the uncle you want to see in the world. You know? I don't want to be one of these absent uncles you hear about. Because you do hear about them. I'm sorry if this is oversharing, but my uncles, you know, they weren't really around when I was growing up. Sure, I'd see them. Christmas, birthdays, weekends. But they were never really there. You know, so my parents pretty much had to raise me by themselves, and that is devastating. I wouldn't wish that on any niece. Tried to learn what I could from my uncles, okay, but it wasn't easy. So I've got this Portuguese uncle, Uncle Portuguese, because I'm half Portuguese, that's why. And we could never really communicate properly, because I do not speak Portuguese. So we'd have very GCSE level conversations, you know. We had an intimate understanding of each other's hobbies, and that's about it. His main hobby was smoking. That is a very Portuguese hobby to have. Are there any Portuguese people in? Good. Let me tell you what I think of these Portuguese. They love smoking over there. Okay, they love it. They start young. And I remember being a child, we'd go and visit my cousins, okay, and from the age of 10, they would be allowed to smoke at the dinner table. And I remember thinking, as a kid, that is one of the coolest things I will ever see. Obviously, I'm a grown man now. I know that's the coolest thing I'll ever see. And I get it, you know, we're not going to find smoking cool anymore, sure. But you didn't see my little cousin Miguel smash a 10-pack of Marlboro Reds. That boy had the face of an angel, the lungs of a city pigeon. Hope he's still around. It's been a while. But what a head start, though, in being a fun guy, you know. I knew I'd never catch up with Miguel. Unless we're having an actual race, in which case, yeah, he's eating my dust. So, he's fucked. Just a different way of life over there, though, you know. You can't knock it. They got this saying, he's finished his greens, let the boy have a tab. Come on, he's got school in the morning, it'll take the edge off. At least I think that's what they're saying, you know. Like I said, I don't speak the language, I got no idea. If I did have a kid of my own, I would want to give them the option of a cigarette with dinner. Okay, because look, I don't smoke myself, wouldn't touch the stuff. But I do think it's important for children to have a sense of their heritage. And I can't pass on the language, you know. I've got to give this kid a taste of the old country somehow. What, that's a crime, is it? That's a crime now? Huh? That's a crime? Yeah? Huh? 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 A crime, huh? Huh? Yeah, it is. Shame on you all for not calling me out. I gave you 7 chances. I think parenting seems hard. I do. I don't think I could do it. Because I have thought about it. But when I look at my sister, she's got kids, right? She's working full time. I just think there's no way that she's got time to be an aunt. There's no way. She's snowed under. I couldn't do that to her. And I'm pretty busy with the uncle stuff. One of these nieces is older than the other. Okay, that is classic. They often come like that, all right? One's 3, one's 4, okay? And I've spent a bit more time with the older one because that's how age works. And she's good people, you know, we get on. But I've started to become quite jealous of her lifestyle, and I'm realizing that is creating some tension in our relationship. I don't know if she can feel it, but I know I can. And what it is, right, I've realized at that age, when you're 4 years old, you do not have to worry about anything. You know, you don't have to know anything. You don't have to know your own birthday. Someone just takes care of that for you. And I would love that. You know, I think having to organize my birthday party is one of the saddest things about becoming an adult. Just every year, I contact the same group of people. It was the same time of year as well. And I say, hey guys, no pressure, but do you feel like celebrating my life? Should be chill, we're just going to go to a pub, I'll do an informal head count of all the people that care that I'm still alive. Then we can knock it on the head, do it all again next year. I want someone else to organise my party for me because I don't want to know who's turned me down. And I realise I am just describing a surprise party, but the ideal would be a surprise party where I'm not even there to know the turnout. That is a double surprise party. Surprise. Where's the birthday boy? I couldn't make it. Well, that is a surprise. What's he up to? He's just a busy man with many projects and a rich life. Are you guys okay? I just noticed that you're having a sort of conversation on the front. I'm not telling you off, I just want to check you're all right. Oh, yeah. Where do you want to go to? Oh, you're just swapping? Oh, okay. Probably cut that bit out of the recording. Toddlers don't have a concept of time. You know, you never see a toddler get up from the sofa, slap his thighs and say, all right, thanks for the coffee, but we better hit the road. Gotta beat that traffic. So for my niece, every party's a surprise party, you know? And yeah, I'm jealous of her for that. Of course I am. Does that feel good? No. It doesn't feel good to be jealous of a 4-year-old. I think I'd feel less jealous if I could feel more involved in her parties, you know? Because I know there's lots of things that I can do that she can't. Like, I'm much bigger and stronger than she is. I can't overstate how much stronger I am than this 4-year-old. It really is night and day. And, you know, no offense to her and her friends, but I try to look after myself. I do think they've let themselves go a bit. No shame in it. No shame in it. They just got these weak arms, cute bellies, tiny heads, absolutely tiny heads. Plenty I could do at her parties that she can't. I could work security. My CV's quite thin, but she can't read. Every new uncle's biggest fear is that he will one day become his own uncle. I really don't want to become my Uncle Ron, okay? Because my Uncle Ron was joyless, all right? His hobby was he would show up to any given family event and make it his mission to tell every child in the room that soon the fun would end. Christmas Day, when I was 8 years old, 9 p.m., Ron comes up to me. He says, Eddie, you understand that's it now. That's Christmas done for another year. You can't put the wrapping back on the presents. Santa's been and gone. Also, he's not real. That's a tough conversation to have at that age, you know? Forces you to grow up early. Boxing Day, I woke up with armpit hair. New Year's Eve, full set of pubes. I don't like that approach. I don't want to be like Uncle Ron, okay? I think every good uncle should be trying to introduce more wonder into his nieces' lives. You know, so yeah, we got Father Christmas, we got the Tooth Fairy, but let's double down. I came up with my own guy for my nieces. He's called the Vegetable Goblin. And it's very simple. The way it works is if you eat all your vegetables, the goblin shall reward you with an eternal supply of cigarettes in the afterlife. And look, the nieces aren't crazy about it, you know. They're not 10. They don't know the sweet taste of tar. But give them time to grow into it. I think they're going to come round. Main thing is I just want to leave the world in a better place for my nieces. So I've been spending a lot of time on chess.com. If you don't know what that is, chess.com, it's an app that I've got on my phone. And the best thing about it is it's got to be the chess. I like it because I can play against some very easy bot players, right? And I play against the easiest bot player. He's called Jimmy. Now, Jimmy is no good at chess, okay? He's thick as shit. And he's got this stupid little cartoon face. And every morning I get on there and I fuck him up. And every morning he comes back for more because he doesn't know what's good for him. And that makes me feel very good about myself. Now, they introduced a feature on chess.com for Women's History Month, okay, where instead of having to play against bot players based on made-up people like Jimmy, you can play against bot players based on real women, okay? And they're like famous women who've done really well in their field, so you've got like scientists, politicians, artists, and it's a great idea. But the execution is flawed because what they've done is they have ranked the women in order of how easy it is to defeat them. And I just think there has to be a better way to celebrate women than arranging them from best to worst. Jane Goodall, yeah, the famous primatologist and conservationist. Do we all know who Jane Goodall is? Yeah. Pretty smart in real life. Not on chess.com. Made her a real dum-dum on there, it's a real shame. You think you're bad at chess, wait till you play Jane. And while you're playing against the women, they introduce a feature where they have these speech bubbles popping up, right, with quotes. And I don't think they're even real quotes. I think they're just quotes the developers thought like, yeah, I reckon she'd say that. So you're playing against Jane. A speech bubble pops up. There's much we can learn from our primate cousins. Jane, I just took your queen. You got to keep your eye on the board. This is why you're worse than Jimmy. Always bringing your work to the game. Save it for the sanctuary. The only woman they have allowed to come across really well on there is Malala. And let me tell you, for the youngest ever Nobel Peace Laureate, she is ruthless. Okay, she fucks me up every time. But every morning I get back on there and I welcome it. Why? Because it feels good to be a part of progress. I keep bumping into magicians. I don't know how else to get into that, but it's true. I bump into a magician about 4 times a year. Used to be 0 times a year. I miss those days. The last magician I saw was at my niece's 4th birthday party, okay? I'm working the door. My sister says it's not necessary, but, you know, I don't want to take any chances. I don't want more than one magician getting in. And there's a magician at this party called Magic Stephen, right? Now, I'm sure it's hard to come up with a stage name, but I do think you've got to try a bit harder than Magic Stephen. And I didn't like Magic Stephen one bit because he did this thing that really wound me up where he kept finding these coins behind my ear. He'd take them and then give them out to the children. Now, by the end of the afternoon, I'm 50 quid down. And that's not right. That's 2 months worth of finasteride. And he's putting me on the spot, you know? Like, what am I going to do? I can't take that money off the kids now they've got it. I don't want to ruin the vibe. But I can feel myself getting annoyed, you know, because I want to be the fun one, the funkle. And Magic Stephen's upstaging me. You know, but I don't want to be a kunkle about it. Don't want to end up like Uncle Ron. But I know I need to do something to prove I'm fun too. You know, so I did what any man would do in a situation where he's at a party and he needs to draw attention to himself. I picked up a guitar. And I sang these children an original song about my fear of becoming a father. But first I had to wrestle the aux cable off Magic Stephen and press play on the backing track. I left my baby in New York City. miss the times we had. I knew that I'd forgotten something. I'm a terrible dad. Got back to England, I turned myself in. Showed up to court in disgrace. Said to the judge it was an honest mistake. New York's a really cool place. Believe me, Your Honor, that baby's resourceful. I know it looks bad at this stage, but my New York City baby is really mature for his age. I went to prison for negligence. 6 months, I got out last week. I have learned to forgive myself, yeah. That's the most important thing. And now that I'm out, I'm going back to New York, yeah. You know I've gotta find my kid. I hope my baby boy forgives me for what I did. I found my baby, he's doing just fine. He's doing better than me. He's 2 years old, going on 30. He works on Wall Street. He's made lots of money, everybody respects him. He wears a Bluetooth headset. My New York City baby's saving up for a private jet. I'm gonna borrow some money from my baby for my ticket home. He's gonna give me a lift to the airport. Says he's better off alone. He's 2 foot tall, only just learned to walk, but he already drives a minivan. My New York City baby's grown into a New York City man. Thank you. The song was not a hit with the children. I think they could tell it was more for me than them. So I got desperate. I tried pointing out that I've got an earring. That's cool. But by that point, Magic Stephen had moved on to balloon animals, and I can't compete with that. So I accepted my defeat. I poured myself a cup of orange squash, and I sat on the steps outside the village hall. There's nothing like being shown up by a magician to make you reflect on your place in the world. You know, I think I'm always trying to look for ways to make myself stand out more without really realizing that's exactly what I'm doing. Like you probably clocked the earring straight away. You know, when you're coming into the venue, I was stood out there. I'm saying, hey, thanks for coming. But in here, I'm saying, please see the earring. I got this earring 3 years ago. Same day that I got my first tattoo, okay? And I did that for the same reason anyone would get an earring and a tattoo on the same day. I was looking in the mirror a lot, and I thought, I could make this more interesting. Mix it up a bit, why not? So I did it. And I'm gonna get my second tattoo right after the Fringe. I am starting to see how people get carried away, okay? I remember being shown this image when I was 15 years old of a tattoo of a dragon, and it's on a man. And it's down there, okay? Now the way it's laid out, right, the wings are either side, okay? Now, the neck, we know where the neck is. Come on. Come on. You know where the neck is. Head's on the end of the neck. Anyone want to guess where the legs are? No? Yeah. Good on you for speaking up. Sometimes people are too shy to say balls out loud, but not you. What's your name?
Barney.
Barney, good on you, man. I think we could be friends. Look, these legs there on the balls. What was that?
Like Barney the dinosaur with a tattoo.
Okay. Leave the jokes to me. Wait, a dinosaur isn't a dragon?
Similar.
Long neck.
Huh?
Long neck.
What?
Long neck.
Long neck.
Yeah.
Barney's neck isn't even that long.
Very sad.
This is going to make a good clip. Comedian destroys heckler about the length of Barney's neck. Yeah. I'm feeling good, man. I'm on cloud 9 up here. I've never felt more powerful. Look, these legs, right? We'll keep that bit in. That's fun. These legs, right? They're on the balls, okay? And look, that's not where I would have put them. I would have put the legs on the legs. Give the dragon big human legs. Let the balls be balls. Because you never see dragons in popular culture with big old nuts. And I think that's a real shame. Because we made them up. We made them up, you know? We could give them balls if we wanted. And that's really all I came here to say tonight. Thank you. But you know when you remember something and you're not sure if it really happened? You know, that's how I felt when I was remembering this tattoo. So I thought, I need to look into this. Does that tattoo exist? So I went on Google. I'm often on there. I got quite an unhealthy relationship with Google, you know. I mainly use it to get visual confirmation of horrible things that I've heard of. So my search history kind of looks like the front page of a Naughty's gossip magazine. It's all like hair transplant gone wrong, or Turkish leg extension procedure, or hair transplant gone right, how much money it cost. So I went on Google, okay? I put in the obvious search terms. Straight away this tattoo pops up. I'm looking at it. Hello, old friend. Long time no see. And it's clear, looking at the tattoo, right, the design's only meant to make sense when the dragon's neck is hard. Okay? What that means is, this man, right, most of the time, he's walking around with what looks like a slain dragon down his front. St. George has done a real number on him. Makes you proud to be English. But he would have started out just like me, you know, one tattoo, then another, and you work your way up. And if I'm getting a tattoo every 3 years now, you crunch those numbers, it's looking like by the time I'm 86, I'm probably booking myself in for that dragon dig. And that's a good age to get it, because if I do regret it, it's a bit of fun for the undertakers. Not many laughs in that job, you know, give them something to laugh about. Something to tell their families round the dinner table. You'll never guess what Daddy saw today. No, I guess again. All right, one more guess, come on, one more guess for Daddy. You know what, this was a bad idea, don't worry, we should eat, it's going cold. Finish your cigarette. So I'm sat outside my niece's birthday party. I'm 50 quid down. And yes, I feel angry, all right? I catch my reflection in my orange squash. I barely recognize myself. I look tired. I've aged. And I've got this unnatural yellow hue. And I just think, is this the kind of uncle I want to be? I know I shouldn't be angry with this magician, you know? And I know I can be a fun uncle, because I love spending time with my nieces. You know, I like just sitting with them. We'll just draw for hours, you know, working on our own little projects. This is where, that's where that came from. They didn't give me permission to use their drawings either. That one's mine. But it's not bad, you know? It's not finished yet, but I'm working on it. I like spending time with them, you know? I love making them laugh. The oldest niece, the 4-year-old, she's a bit of a comedy fan. You know, she gets what I'm trying to do up here, and I appreciate that. You know, and her favourite joke of mine is this bit where what I do is I grab the audience by the legs. So I got the audience, they're not going anywhere. And then I get the audience upside down, and then I just jiggle them about. And it is bulletproof stuff. Unfollowable. And I wish you could have seen it this evening, but unfortunately it's one of those bits that only works in a room where the audience is one close family member, and also the audience must weigh no more than 10 kilos. That is crucial. There is nothing like the laughter of a child. No offense. No offense. This is nice. It's really nice. I'm so glad you're here, but it's just not the same, okay? And I'm sorry if that sounds elitist. It is elitist. Toddlers are incredibly charismatic. You cannot compete with that. No one can. If this room were full of toddlers, it would have been popping. I would have lost control 2 minutes in, but it would have been popping. I actually told my flyers to try and find the toddlers that look like they got money. But they're quite hard to find, so. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you. So I knew I didn't want to be outside my niece's birthday party, okay? So I stood up, I downed my orange squash, and I headed back inside. I'm not going to end up like Uncle Ron. There's always another way. It's time I told you about Munkle. Munkle was a good man, okay? And I like thinking about Munkle because I think Monk is just such an interesting job. You know, we don't really think about it, but someone's got to do it. You know, we can't have no monks. Can you imagine that? Yeah, no monks. We'll always need the trades. Munkle He was about my age when he decided to sack off his regular life and just become a monk, you know, and I can really see the appeal in that, like just checking yourself into the monastery, having some downtime with the boys. I could do with that, you know. I get the monastery thing. I like flat shares. I think building a home with your boys is one of life's great pleasures. You're all bringing something different, it just comes together. One guy's got an old PS4, another boy's got a coffee table he found on the street. Minimal wear and tear, not bad for a free coffee table. Sunday evenings, you're rubbing finasteride into each other's scalps. I miss that. But the main reason that I would like the idea of being a monk is it is just a very simple, stripped-back way of life, you know? Not much to worry about. Because it gets quite messy up there in my brain sometimes, you know? I get a case of the mopies from time to time. That's not what the doctor calls it, but you got to make your own fun. You do, especially if you've got the mopies. And it's not so bad that like I can't come here and do this, you know, I'm still sort of functioning, but it is another reason why I would reconsider having a child of my own, because I do worry about what I'd pass on. You know, I think if I had my own kid, I would accidentally raise a really depressed kid. And that is the last thing I need, you know, harshing my vibe, sulking around the flat with his big fringe and his bald patch, listening to My Chemical Romance like an emo monk. I don't need that. I'm just thinking a lot more about what I'm going to pass on at the moment, because uncles in my family, you know, we don't live long. All of my uncles, all three of them, died at 46, okay, in the same freak accident. My uncle always tried to see the best in people. And he never saw eye to eye with Uncle Ron and Uncle Portuguese. But one weekend he decided, you know what, enough, we need to sort this out. So we invited them to a bonding retreat, just the three of them, to the cliffs near his monastery, okay? And they were just setting up their tents when suddenly some coastal erosion just came out of nowhere and swept them out to sea, and they were never seen again. And it sounds horrific, okay? It sounds horrendous, but they died happy. How do I know that? Because they were blasting Fleetwood Mac and jumping up and down. The Coast Guard said that probably sped up the coastal erosion. But I'm just grateful that the photographer was there, because otherwise I'd have nothing to remember them by, and that geography textbook is all I have. And look, maybe I will be more lucky than them, you know, maybe I'll have more time, but I don't know, I still think it's good to consider what I'm going to pass on to my nieces. You know, will it be depression? Will it be pattern baldness? Hopefully neither. As long as my nieces know that I've tried my best, I'll be happy. You know, because they don't have anything to worry about now, but I hope that when they do, we have the kind of relationship where they feel comfortable sharing their problems with me. I mean, the youngest niece, you know, the 3-year-old, she's got these adorable chubby wrists. You know, they look like two tangerines stacked on top of each other. And she's rocking it, you know, that's her USP. People love it, she loves it, it's a good brand. But that could change, you know. When I hit puberty at 8 years old, I suddenly got really self-conscious of my wrists, okay? And what it is, right, is my dad's got huge wrists, my mum's got tiny wrists, I've got my mother's wrists. And I love my mum so much, but her wrists are bullshit. So at school, I used to catch myself staring at my friend's wrists, thinking, that's a big wrist, buddy, how'd you do it? What's your secret? The secret is genetics, okay? You cannot thicken your wrists, it is bone. I know that now. But I used to be really jealous of those big wrist boys, you know, they seemed happy, they were popular, they had a kind of joie de vivre about them. But I get it, you know, there were other factors to their popularity. They did not stare at people's wrists, and they would never use the phrase joie de vivre. Huge turn-off in the playground. But I stopped caring about my wrist when I got this bald patch. You know, now I just catch myself staring at the crowns of my friends' heads, thinking, that's a well-covered crown, buddy, how'd you do it? You done it again? What's the secret? The secret, again, is genetics, okay? I don't think there is much I can do about this. Me and Paul know. Obviously, I've looked into it. I found a blog where a man said, no, there's actually 3 things you can do. You can buy finasteride. I am trying that, obviously. I don't think it is working, but of course I'm going to keep buying the pills just in case. Second idea was wear a hat. That's what Paul's doing. But look, to be honest, it didn't feel right when I tried it. It felt like I was hiding something. My bald patch. Third idea was dress younger to compensate. I don't know how much further I could take it from here. Next step would be to get some dungarees and light up trainers. And that's going to be distracting for the wrong reasons, okay? Best case scenario, people will say, why has that toddler got pattern baldness? What's that little guy's story? Let's start a GoFundMe, get him on a plane to Turkey. It's weird losing your hair from the back, okay? Because you forget it's happening. You'll go days without thinking about it. And then you get up, you look in the mirror, you think, yeah, all good up front. And you turn to your boys who are in the bathroom with you because you've got a supportive vibe in the flat. And you say, boys, fellas, we're looking good. Let's step out. Let's head to that post office. We're going to stockpile the stamps before the price goes up. So we marched into that post office bold as brass. But on that day, there was a problem. Because they had installed a new CCTV camera right above the entrance, and it's pointing inwards, right? Now, 10 meters in front of me, there's a big 4K monitor. It's fancy for this post office. They're doing all right. Me and the boys give them a lot of business, to be fair. I look up at that screen, and I see a man with a bald patch. Now, he is flanked by a wicked squad of supportive boys. I'm thinking, yes, mate, good for you. Then it hits me. Those are my boys. That's my bald patch. I tried wearing a hat every time I went to that post office. But like I said, not for me. So eventually just had to stop buying stamps. And that is the story of how I first got an email address. How you all doing in the heat, by the way? Yeah, that's the spirit. That was one of the most solemn groans I have ever heard. Yeah. You're all troopers for this. So I'm back inside at my niece's birthday. I'm 50 quid down. Okay? Yes, I still feel angry, but I'm looking around. The kids are loving it. They're rolling around in my coins. They're making it rain. Mind your heads. I look at Magic Stephen. And then I remember something that Jane Goodall once told me, just as she was moving her bishop into play. She said, bonobos prioritize conflict resolution for the benefit of their young. Nice one, Jane, but that's checkmate. But I knew I had to rise above it, okay, for my nieces. Also, I'm not stupid, I'm not going to fight a magician. I just watched him make a balloon disappear. He's not doing that to me. So I go up to Magic Stephen and I say, listen, man, no hard feelings. Today's about the kid. And he's like, what do you mean? No hard feelings. I said, because you took my money. I'm just saying, don't worry about the money. I'm rising above it. I'm the bigger man. It's okay. And he's like, you know that's not real money. You understand that? And I said, shh. I said, it's okay. We shake hands. His hand falls off. He's got me again. He's got me again. These magicians, they're all right. They're a good laugh. I mentioned at the beginning that I was recording this on my phone. I am. It's not for me to listen back to. It is for my nieces. I had to prove to them that I'm a fun uncle somehow, and this did seem the easiest way to do that. That is the only reason I brought you all here today. I hope you don't feel too mugged off. I have used you to my own end, but thank you so much for coming. And obviously I don't think that they will understand the recordings yet, but the long-term plan is when they are both 18, I will be 46 then, and I'm going to send them an email with a link to the Google Drive folder. All the recordings are in there. The email is going to say, happy birthday. Here's 18 years worth of dynamite gags all about you. You're welcome. That never gets an order. Normally it gets a laugh, which is preferable. I'll take an or. Why not? Hello, nieces, if you're listening to this. Happy birthday, I can't believe it's been 18 years. Where did the time go? Am I still around? How's the bald patch doing? Did it get to 25 £5. How many tattoos am I on? Don't ask about the dragon one. If I wound up in a monastery, no pressure, but please visit me. This is how I want you to remember me. I've been crushing for an hour straight in a 600-seater on the biggest stage I've ever seen, 98 square meters. Hope you enjoyed listening back to this. I hope it's taught you something. You're the only reason I put on this show for 18 years running. Played the long game to show I care. A hard-working uncle scared to lose my hair. Please accept my legacy as the funnest double uncle in history. This is how I want you to remember me. This is how I want you to remember me. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is the end now. I almost forgot. There you go. Yeah, really appreciate you coming and being so nice. You're really nice. I got badges to hand out. Please take a badge. I've also got more posters than I need, so you can absolutely take a poster if you want. It's fine if you don't, but if you want one, take it. Also, tell people about the show if you enjoyed it. Even if you didn't enjoy it, tell them, because a sale's a sale. Even if you're like, this guy, he's dying up there, you got to see it. I'll take it. I'll take anything. No, but you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.